Here.
And Mayor Finley.
I am here. Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Before we get started, I do have one revision to the agenda. We received a late request from the Edgewater on the Tualatin community, and I would just like to amend the agenda to be able to discuss their request.
Came in today.
It literally came in today. So, the request has to do with sponsoring a holiday, a holiday exterior light contest. So we can let's put that. If I get a motion to put it on the agenda or to revise the agenda tonight, we can put it after 6A. Yeah.
So I'll do a motion to amend the agenda to hear the Edgewater and Tualatin's request
It actually
60, do I have a second? I'll second. All right, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Shauna, either
Aye.
say aye or raise your hand. Perfect, thank you. Or oppose, I don't want to tell you how to vote, Shauna, but I just meant, if you say how you're going to vote on the record. Thank you. All right. Then moving on now to approval of our minutes. We have two sets of minutes from October 19th, 2022 and September 21, 2022. Does anyone have any issues with the minutes, questions, concerns? Hearing none, are we ready to approve them? And if so, who is going to move to do so?
I move that we approve the October 19th, 2022 minutes and the September 21st, 2022.
Correct, second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Shauna, do you approve the minutes?
Aye.
That's a beautiful. Thank you. Motion passes. All right. Moving on, we have no special presentations tonight. We do normally have open forum. I will let you all know that we have no one here in the audience in the room of council chambers. Ronnie, do we have anyone on the phone who's indicated, or excuse me, on Zoom?
Yes, I have it.
Okay, so let me just do the preamble. At this time, the council will be happy to receive your comments pertaining to items on the agenda, including questions, suggestions, complaints, and items for the future. Each person's time will be limited to 3 minutes, and I will hand it over to Ronnie to walk us through the order of individuals who want to speak on this.
I have Janet.
Good evening,
Hi.
Janet. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you okay. Go
Okay.
ahead and state your name and where you live, and then go ahead and give us your discussion tonight.
Okay, so my name is Janet Black and I live in Rivermead and I have an agenda item, well, a future item. I listened to the Monday meeting of the Washington County Coordinating Committee and they discussed the 2023 Regional Transportation Plan and a call for projects. And I think it's important for Beef Bend Road to be studied to discuss how it can improve the increase or how it can be improved to handle the increase in traffic from King City and Tiger Development. And I don't really know how the process for submitting a project works, but if King City Council can submit a project to study how Beef Bend Road could be improved, I just am requesting that you consider doing so. Thank you.
Thank you, Janet. We appreciate your comment on that. So this is always the difficult part of our council meetings. I'm going to make this general statement because we want to, it's easy and tempting to respond to anyone who makes a public comment. and it's not really appropriate to do so, so it's always very difficult. So what we will do, though, is during Mike's city manager report, he will add a little overview for you, Janet, for the citizens, and for the council on how that works, how King City submits proposals to the WCCC. We will be submitting several proposals, and Mike will kind of go through that, and it's a great time to refresh everyone here, including our citizens. So thank you for your comments, Janet. We'll move on to anyone else who...
Anybody else would like to?
Please raise your hand if you raise your virtual hand on Zoom if you would like to speak about anything during our open forum. Otherwise, we will move on. We'll take a few minutes.
I'm not gonna tell them how to raise their virtual hand, just in case there's some out there that don't know. There's a virtual hand is at the lower, it should be in the lower middle portion of your screen as an attendee. And you just hit that, and that will trigger the host here in the council chamber to see that yellow hand pop up, and then we can call on you.
We'll give it about 15 more seconds, and then we'll go ahead and move on. You're an excellent vice mayor. Thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Okay, at this time, we have no unfinished business. And then regarding new business, so discussion on the unofficial election results. Again, it is important to note that this is informational only because the Secretary of State officially comes out with the results in, Ronnie, what did you say, December 5th? On December 5th. So we all know several of the races who won. We know who they're going to announce officially, but it is a little preemptive. So first of all, congratulations to Councilor Peachtree, Councilor Manila, Council President Paulson, and then I also, we all were reelected, so that is exciting, and we thank the voters of King City for their confidence, and that's fun. With that, at the end of this year, I think everyone recalls that my appointment as mayor comes to a close, and then we have to appoint new leadership, and we traditionally do that in the January meeting. And so we will also do that again for the January meeting. And over the years, I will just say, okay, let's put a little thought. So over the years, we have done this voting process in a number of different ways, and they all have been equally cumbersome. So it would be nice to have a think about the protocol of how we're going to kind of do it, just so that it's efficient, but also it's a little, I don't know, like private isn't the right word because it's an open, right, but it's been clunky in the ways that we've done in the past. So we'll put a little thought into how to make it less clunky, I guess is what I'm saying. So with that, there's still a few, there are still a few big races out there that we are waiting for, right? I think everyone saw that Heidi Lube is the new mayor of Tigard. So we congratulate Tigard's first female mayor, which is exciting. I reached out pretty much to everyone on behalf of the city, but there's still a few holdouts as far as like they're not announcing quite yet. Aaron was, it appeared like Aaron was going to prevail, but they only just announced that yesterday. So anyway, so anyone have any comments or questions about unofficial election results? Okay, we will move on. The next is
Edgewater.
the Edgewater. Okay, so I haven't even read this yet. So I will go ahead and just read it out, okay? So, Edgewater Community. In the spirit of spreading cheer and goodwill, the Edgewater community is having a December holiday exterior light contest for its residents. To encourage participation, we are offering prizes in the form of a Visa gift card. Gift baskets would also be gladly accepted, and they are therefore humbly asking if we would be willing to contribute to this holiday celebration. All residents will be informed of our generous contributors and will be encouraged to patronize your business. All right. Judging will occur the week before the holiday. Therefore, we will need to be in receipt of any contributions the week prior to that. We would be happy to drop by and pick up your donation. Give me a call. So, they are looking for prize sponsorship, is my understanding, for their lights. And I will say this is noted for Edgewater Community, Southwest Fisher Road, and 131st Avenue. So I'm not sure if this is the Edgewater HOA, and then they are just going to also encompass 131 and the south of Fisher, or, because that's outside the HOA territory, or if they just mean all of the Edgewater, I'm not sure. So that we probably should get a little clarifying to that, but they're asking for support. So I will open it up to discussion to you guys about what you feel like with this request.
Can I just
Sure.
give a little background? So,
Sure.
I believe it is one of the board members from Edgewater.
Okay.
And so it's Edgewater residents. They're gonna go around, evaluate and grade, and then award the top 3 winners, I think is what they said. And what they were asking for is a small, donation from the city or any of the, like Lions or any of the other ones around to bolster the prize. So, but they were asking for is like $50 or $100 gift card from the city to help sponsor their event. So that's something you guys feel is worthwhile, then it's something that I think is in the discretionary funds of the council that we could donate. It'd be that similar thing that we have for like the Family Justice Center or some of our other contributable items that we.
The Northwood Family Justice Center is on equal part. However, I do agree, maybe like the basket that we did for the mayor, like the mayor's gift basket, for that.
It'd be in the same budget.
The same budget, oh, I see, right, got it, okay.
If I look at it, it's the same budget.
You're looking at it, okay. All right, so I'll get it over to you. Who wants to open up discussion?
Well, I have a point of order.
Sure.
We have Edgewater residents on the council, so how do they vote, they don't participate in the contest, or they participate in the contest and don't vote? How does that work?
So I will be the first so I'll address this one. I think it's good to make sure that everyone who lives within the Edgewater, on the Tualatin, knows it, so that everyone knows who's part of the HOA and who's not. I will say for me personally, in years past, because they have done this in the past, I just think this is the first time that they've come to at least the council and asked for sponsorship. So in years past, I participated in the decorating of my home. I think I was an honorable mention once, but I personally would not take, if I won, I would refrain from winning and ask them to give it to the next person, you know, in the list. And so I think that's an important part of this discussion, because a lot of us live in the Edgewater community, and I do think it's fair that regardless of what we decide, you know, we shouldn't be the ones that are winning the prizes. But that's my 2 cents. So, it's a good point of order. Thanks. So I guess so first, who's in?
As a condition.
Yeah, right.
No other council can win.
So let's just be real quick. Who lives within the HOA on the council? So I do. Mark. Oh my God. Okay. and then Shauna, we see your raised hand, Shauna, on the Zoom, okay? All right, so, I don't think there's anything improper about discussing it, since it's on the record, everyone's clear. If those who don't live in Edgewater have strong feelings and would like to have the rest of us abstain from the conversation, I also think that's equally fair. I don't think it's required, because I don't think there's like a direct, but,
I think just, the clarity is important in that
yeah,
call.
I totally,
And so, I would expect that if any of you won, you would not receive said prizes from the HOA.
Yeah.
If the price included the city
yeah.
Right.
gift card, then we would just pass it on.
Right.
Yeah.
If we pass it to the next.
I think, yeah, pass on to them, yeah.
I think it's a great idea to contribute to the, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You're saying
Oh,
contribute.
period.
Okay.
I think it's a great idea.
I have to say I'm not really comfortable with this,
Okay,
and it's because it's signaling, blah, blah, blah. A particular HOA and not something that would be, open to other groups.
mhm.
So I would have to say that I'm not in favor of this idea.
Well, I'll let everyone else talk, but anyone else have some?
Yeah, I think we would probably have to open up a basket and see if any other HOAs would want to join too, right? Or do we table this until next month and see if any other HOAs want to?
Well, it might just be, it's up to the council really. Difficult, I think at this stage, unless the other HOAs came and asked for similar information, right? So if the other HOA is hearing that we did this for one HOA and then they came and asked for it, we probably need to do it similarly for them.
Could we do a city pride? Like, we have our, just, and we go around the entire city and pick.
Now you're looking at administrative, they have a
Yeah.
whole list of criteria, they have their judges
Right.
selected, and they're going around looking at, it might be something that we would look to do in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
And I also would say this, that I kind of agree, so I agree with Lori in the sense that, traditionally supporting one neighborhood event over any other or whatever is completely improper. I think here what we have is a situation where Edgewater is kind of the first to come to council to look for that sponsorship, and we either need to say, okay, we are going to earmark a $50 Visa gift card to Edgewater for this, with the understanding that any other HOA should also have an earmarked $50 gift card at some point if they do something, or, right, we have to anticipate that it has to be fair across the city. I think that's number one. Number two, I also think that, what I would love, and I would love to put this on our, planning meeting for next year, is Mike and I have long talked about doing some type of holiday citywide parade or food, food drive, or do something that on behalf of the city that then gets all the HOAs. And at that point, I think it would be really good to try to figure out a way to engage the HOAs with some type of prize system or something. And then my last concern about this is just that, while I appreciate it for the holidays, and that holiday decorating is very important, I don't want to take away from that, we do need to recognize that not everyone celebrates all of the winter holidays. And so in a way, I don't know if supporting a holiday decorating competition is equitable in the sense of that, I think we should look at next year doing something like, we will reserve $100 for the year, earmark $50 per HOA for the year to do something special that they can come and say, hey, this is the one thing we want your $100 gift card to go to. And we'll leave it up to the HOA to decide, right? But, however, I also really do want to support I like the fact that they came to us, that they wanted to support. So, Ronnie, do you think, like would it be, I guess, my goal running, right? Going to maybe the golf, the pro shop and seeing if they would be willing to donate a few King City, golf balls or,
I think they're already doing that.
Are
So
they?
I think for
Okay.
what we're dealing with right now, we just have a question on the table. So, Mayor, in your shoes, what I would just do is call for a motion, and then that way we get a proposal one way or another, yes, up, down, left, right, whatever. We have a motion, we get our second, have a quick discussion, and then we can move on. If it fails, it fails. If it's approved, it's approved.
all right, so, anyone have any other questions? All right, then we'll,
Yeah, so I love the idea, but I absolutely agree with you about the winter holiday. And so, it would be, like, it's all in, we want to engage with the community. That's
Yeah,
what
exactly.
I'm what we're trying to do.
exactly, right.
But I would say my concerns outweigh my excitement to support in that way. So I think that, that we signal boosted it, and I think that's a great thing, and I'm hoping that anybody listening that would like to donate will do that. And I think we need a motion to.
Yeah. So I will call for any motion if we have one. Go ahead, Leah.
So,
Okay, yep, sure.
Was I called on?
Yeah, you're calling on this time, go ahead.
Oh, I would just like to make a motion that we take a vote.
To approve?
So do you need to, you got to move for,
Oh, I'm sorry.
you want to
Sorry,
move, are you
I'd
moving
like to
to?
make a motion to approve this request.
For what amount, Shauna? Counselor Thompson.
sorry. I thought it was $350 gift cards. Is that not right?
Well, they were asking for a donation of $50 to $100.
Oh,
So it'd
total?
be
Oh,
some
gotcha.
Yeah, some denomination.
Okay, I move to approve their request for a $100 donation to their holiday contest for Edgewater.
right, just to, thank you.
And then, yeah, and then we have discussion, go ahead.
Actually, yes, as you all can see, this opportunity for us to engage with the community, and now there's always a first for everything, and this is the first, right? So we can start somewhere, and if we keep saying we wait till next time, then, the news will go out that we supported this, I think that we can first.
So, so the motion, what?
We're in the discussion part.
We're still in the discussion part.
So I do, think that this is something that we need to talk about more before, we didn't have preparation for it either. And so I think that we probably need to establish some policies on how and when we're gonna spend money, especially when it comes to HOAs.
Yep.
So I would oppose the motion for those reasons.
I also agree with that. I don't necessarily think it's appropriate, to single out one single HOA without all of them. I think we need more time to let others, make some motion.
So I agree with Councilor Moore. I think that this is a little premature. We haven't had enough time to really think about it. But I like the idea of the food drives. I mean, you could get the HOAs, we could have a fall or a winter or a Christmas, like a competition amongst the HOAs to see who could collect the most, of canvas or whatever we chose for a contribution. So I think that kind of thing is something we could talk about as a plan for next year and starting it earlier than now.
Any other discussion?
I can agree too, since past, I like the idea and with Edgewater being the first to approach us, but I think more time to kind of look at it, come up with a better plan, that we can get out then we can send something out to the HOAs, let them know, here's an opportunity to engage with the city and get some.
Motion and second.
All right.
Discussion, any other discussion?
All right, we'll call for a vote. So this one we'll probably do.
I'll just do roll call, because it's probably gonna split.
Yeah, let's just do roll call.
I'll start with, Counselor Thompson online.
I'm confused on what I'm supposed to be voting on. Sorry.
We're voting on your motion,
The whether to approve a gift card of $100 to the Edgewater HOA for, gift basket, or inclusion in gift basket to the homeowner.
Oh, gotcha. So if I say yes, then I'm voting to approve the request. If I say no, then I'm voting not approve the request, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, I'm voting yes.
Counselor Petrie,
I vote no.
Counselor Ocholi,
I'll vote yes.
Manel,
No.
Counselor Moore.
No.
Counselor Paulson.
I'm gonna abstain.
So the motion fails 2-4-1.
So, I know. So, I will, in my personal capacity, I will donate a $50 gift card to the Edgewater. If anyone wants to go in and with me to support them, then you're welcome to do so. But in my private capacity, I will go ahead and fundraise, because I doubt they're coming to me personally. And then I think this was a good discussion tonight, and I think we should add this to our goal setting session in January, so that we can kind of have this discussion, because it's a great idea, and I think everyone here really wants to support our HOAs, especially when they come with these requests. But I think it's important that we figure out the guidelines, right? So we'll do that in our January goal setting session.
Shauna.
Shauna, go ahead.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the exact same thing. I was going to offer up $50. So I will match your $50, Jamie. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. All right.
Well, we'll share the contact information.
Yeah, we'll do that offline, and then if anyone else wants to, so that way I think we can say that, as a group, as individuals, right, we want to support them, it's just we need to work out this, to make it fair to the other HOAs. All right, great. Moving along, Chief, let's hear it.
Yeah, nothing. About the, kid in yellow.
Oh, yeah, Chief, can you,
Please.
so just to everyone, so,
Is that the next door?
Yeah.
Call does not exist.
okay, so I want to be very clear for the council and for anyone watching. An individual put onto Nextdoor a post seeking information regarding a 10-year-old child being hit on 131 on Monday evening. And I want to put it out there that there was no call to the police department. There was no call to any first responders that we are aware of. A child being hit on 131 is a very serious event, and we would have been informed about it if it had happened. Hopefully, I mean, if it happened and we weren't informed, then we need to know that. And so.
There wasn't even a response to it, right?
Yeah, so there was no, yeah.
No one responded.
No first responder responded. Yeah. So anyway, so I just wanted to put that out, because that only just kind of happened today, and then it got recirculated amongst some discussion about Fisher Road, and so it is important that we do not spread false information, especially when so
But,
traumatizing.
now we're talking about 131st, I guess I'll bring it up.
So just, we're not ready to show that stuff yet, but I've done a bunch of traffic studies. We just did a little longer than I normally do. I did a five-day study on southbound 131 from East Bend, downward, downhill. 8,100 cars running, 8,100 cars over the 5 days. The average speed was 25.6.
45.6, that's great. See, I love it.
The average speed,
The
though.
average,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Had a couple.
I'm sure we have,
And
I'm
we're
sure,
still-
right.
We're still citing cars there and stuff,
Right, right.
There's always, I'm not into, all the studies and stuff like that, and how it shows that, you have 3,000 cars that are, we'll show you the graphs that we get, but you have 3,000 cars out of that 8,000 that drove between 25 and 30. And, then you get some that shoot up to, I think we have as fast as 54, that were captured on with the data. So, like I said, we're still out there citing cars, all the,
Yeah, some of them.
yeah, and stuff. So we've been hitting it pretty hard and stuff. So it's, trying to educate, and there's a great graph that I don't remember looking at. Ronnie's got the info, but it shows you when a speed is flashed up, if they decrease their speed, and so you try to see what kind of, how people react. There's a term that they use. And so it's just something that, we have it there, a lot of cars. We'll be seeing that in the near future. I've got a couple other streets.
Great, thank you, appreciate it. Anything else, Steve, we're good?
No.
All right, thank you so much. Mike?
Okay, I'll start with the call for the RTP project to answer Janet's question from earlier.
Yeah, great.
So, as Janet mentioned, Washington County and Metro Regional Transportation has done a call for projects. This is new for us because we haven't had a transportation system plan that has gone through a public process prior to. And although we're not completely through the public process with the transportation system plan, we do have a majority of it done. We have a draft document that's adoption ready. It will still need to do some modification, I think, to meet the master planning documents and then come forward as a whole. But that document provides a list of aspirational projects. And what they are calling for us to enter into their system are the ones that are on a regional level, that have a regional basis. So it's collector or above, right? So we have essentially, there's 16 to 17 collectors identified throughout the Kingston Terrace area, and upwards of 21 collectors. Beach Bend is an arterial, Roy Rogers is an arterial, and 99W is a highway, right? Highway arterial. So we put the Highway 99W corridor study in there as well, and we put the Beach Bend intersection study and design in that list, and we put Roy Rogers in all the roads throughout King City that would be declared a minor or major collector. All right, so that would include, would it be like East Bend, Alternative 4, Alternative 2, portion of Alternative 3, Elsner, River Terrace Boulevard. There's a couple others on the far west side. They're labeled corridor like 9 or corridor 7 or corridor 14. Those have all been put in. We also put in trails. So any sort of regional trail facility, like the Tualatin Greenway Trail, that would go from 99W to Roy Rogers eventually. We put those in there just so that they're on the list. That doesn't mean that they're funded. And a number of those projects will go into the strategic platform for their 50-year outlook, right? So the idea is that we plug in all of these roads that qualify for regional transportation funds, and then it goes into whether it's financially constrained, whether it's unconstrained, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and whether those documents are whether those road systems are going to be strategically funded later on through pooling money together, or whether there's funds regionally to pay for those roads within the next 5 years. So they're in there, hopefully, and we have another meeting tomorrow, I do, with, the coordinator for the RTD spreadsheet, Washington County, to try to make sure all of our data fits properly, because it's, like I said, our first time doing it, so there's a little bit of confusion on some of those elements and issues, so we're trying to get it all hammered out and straightened out, and it doesn't always correlate, so, trying to get the data sections, database to match on. That's the RTP call for projects, as I know it, to date, and I think we have until, January, I believe, to enter in all the data.
Yeah.
So, that's happening. Habitat for Humanity was approved by the Planning Commission this morning. There was debates on parking, sidewalks, landscape, phasing. There's some discussions on covered parking options, things of that nature. We are kind of limited on what we can do with some of those things. We had a discussion about the climate-friendly initiatives that are coming down, as well as House Bill 2001 and 2006, which is going to have some, like home rule creep, if you will. It's when the state, federal, regional governments are doing a creep upon your home rule charter, right? And basically dictating how you have to plan your cities or how you have to develop. So those sort of things do exist. They do imply, they make us follow certain rules and regulations as we do our planning. And so those things came into play with this one. They were requesting a couple of variances to easement width and things of that nature. But they were moving that portion of the easement internal, so that there was an internal walkway and pedestrian ways. So they could have made that space available on the outer edge possibly, but then it really would have taken away from the dynamic of the proposal and made it worse in the end. So, they were fairly limited on what they could do just because of the size, and there being a Habitat for Humanity project. But they did meet the majority of the criteria, and they just had to ask for a couple variances. The Planning Commission agreed to approve those today, so that should be moving forward unless it's appealed. So we're putting out notices of decision and sending those out to anyone that commented on that project, probably. That's out. I talked briefly about the climate-friendly initiative. The thing that worries us most about the climate-friendly initiative is the parking, elimination of parking requirements. In living in a suburban area, majority of our populations depend on their automobiles to get where they're going. And it's not practical to think that they won't be auto-dependent when we don't have mass transit lines and we don't have the density to support those. Right. So we objected to that really early in the process, and we wrote a letter and submitted it to DLCD for our objection. Since this has gone through, DLCD expects the cities to develop their code by March of 2023. We're asking for an extension to that because we would like to wrap that in with our master plan so that we can just do it all at once instead of passing our code and then turn around and doing another one 3 months later that's not in compliance, right? So we're trying to wrap it all in with our master plan code amendments. So master plan, code amendments, everything would go through at the same time. There's also elements of that that come into play with our transportation system plan when we talk about vehicle miles traveled and trail systems and encouraging alternative modes of traffic. So those all come into play. And so they've been considered by our consultants, and those will all move forward. The climate-friendly initiative is also currently being litigated. So a number of cities have filed a class action suit to stand against the home rule creep that I was mentioning earlier in saying that DLC has overstepped their bounds. And, what that comes out to in the end, I'm not sure. As we mentioned, I think it was last month, I mentioned it to you that we could join that class action suit or let the big boys kind of fight it out first. And so that's kind of where we've stayed right now, is we support their role in what they're doing, but we haven't joined the suit and thrown our money into the ring. So that's where we stand today, and that's all I really have for.
I'll kind of jump in after you, just because some of my updates kind of deals with that. So, at the WCCC meeting, the climate friendly initiative was also discussed. I don't know if you popped off, I think you might have left at this point. So there is going to be some guidelines, that are going to be coming out to kind of assist with smaller entities, right, trying to roll out their compliance with the climate friendly initiative. And I sit on the WCC, I sit in the Board of Mayors, right, and on the other group of mayors. So what I can kind of tell you all is that every city is really struggling with how to best comply with the new regulations coming out. It's difficult working on policy work when we don't, at the WCCC, right, you're talking about regional transportation issues, but then you have a climate friendly initiative, and we don't know how that's going to play out quite yet, and there's not a lot of guidance. And then on top of that, you have this call for projects, and so everyone's kind of like, well, are we doing projects that are going to be compliant with the, right, all that. And then on top of that, you put in the tolling and 205, and it's just a big kind of hot mess. So, the one thing I can just kind of impart from those meetings is that, one, all of us in the suburbs, and by all of us, I mean all of the suburban cities, are really pushing back quite strongly on the discussion surrounding regional transportation and climate initiative issues. I think one of the things to understand is several years ago, regionally, the cities got together and came out with kind of a vision goal setting of where we wanted to be with our sustainable values, and the climate initiative kind of came out of a lot of that work. And we just did kind of a check-in on those goals, and we were on track. Then COVID hit, and we are not on track at the moment, right? So we're not hitting those carbon neutral goals that we had. Some cities took it upon themselves to, like Beaverton, for example, has a very progressive, very aggressive climate initiative that they did as a city, right? But they also have funding for that. They have manpower. They kind of took that ahead and ran with it. A lot of the other cities, right, don't, and are relying on kind of the regional overlay of the policy to come out. And so for us and for all of our neighbors here in the suburbs, the difficulty that we have is the lack of mass transit. It's also the lack of kind of live workability, where we don't have, right, literally everyone in the suburbs drives their car to where they work and has to do so, because to not do so, the amount of time it would take for them to get from their home to where they work is so astronomical on regional transportation, on public transportation. And so I will say, at these meetings, if anyone listens in on these meetings, you will know that DLCD and TriMet just get pummeled, okay? And we all acknowledge it, right? We acknowledge they get pummeled, we accept it, but at the same time, it is hard. So it is just a balance, and so that's the huge discussions that are happening at these committee levels, and they're really pervasive in all the meetings. I think Mike and I probably have the same conversation over and over and over again, week in, week out, at different levels of meetings, because this is all that everyone's talking about right now. So that's kind of the big update there. Moving on, I don't really have too much other things, other than, it was Veterans Day, and I attended a lot of veterans events. I do want to take this opportunity and give, an apology to the King City, Civic Association and Billy Reynolds and Paul Haley. I missed the KCCA's Veterans event due to, my own personal error of putting the event on the wrong day. And so I missed the event, which was sad for me. One, because I like going to the event every year, and supporting veterans, especially veterans in King City, is very dear and near to my heart. So I started to miss that. But it sounds like it was a great event, and I look forward to attending next year. I also would like to do a veterans event in King City, or Veterans Park or something to our goal setting session, so that's already on my list. But I did attend several other events, and I saw a couple I went to a couple documentaries, and all that's on my Facebook page, so I won't bother you guys with all of that. But it was very good. So let's go down. Let's start with Shauna. Shauna, why don't you give us your update?
I don't have anything to report tonight. Thanks, though.
Okay, let's go to Kate. Report. Yeah.
Just a brief report, we had, the, policy advisory board meeting for the, CBDG. Let's do that wrong. We went through our rating criteria and our application process that's going to take place in January and in February for upcoming missions for projects. And that's really all I have this month.
Great.
The mayor's meeting that we had this,
Oh, yeah, great.
what was it, the end of October?
Yeah.
That
So
was
much happened.
good turnout.
It was a good turnout. It was great.
It was a good discussion, good turnout, and, yeah, that's about all I have.
Thank you guys for joining.
For the whiteboard meeting, now the rain, kind of delayed a little bit, but now we have rain, and, understand that's what kind of it talked about during the impact of the climate changes and everything else, so we're just beginning to see rain coming down, and the snow coming down, hopefully by next year, we won't have any, water level issues. We're good.
Great, thank you.
Great. Okay, so I've got a few things, hopefully I won't take too much time here. King City Condos, they would like to thank Mike Weston for taking the time to meet with them to discuss their drainage concerns. They announced it at the meeting, and so thank you for sharing that with you. They're still working on all their maintenance issues, and right now they're looking, we have a lot of arborvitae along 99 that's part of the King City Condos property, and they're working with a tree person to see if they can save as many as they can, because they're really diseased, rather than having to remove them all. So that's one thing they're working on. And they are, because they are so close to the Beef Bend 99 area, they are very concerned about how Beef Bend road work is going to affect them. So that's an ongoing issue for them. Garden Villas is just starting their fall maintenance project, and they're working on their 2023 budget. Now, as far as impact, the Metro Policy Advisory Committee, there's a few things here that might be of interest to us, and dovetailing with what Jamie was talking about as far as transit is concerned. There was an update to impact on the 2023 RTP, the high capacity transit strategy that Metro is working on. Their vision is to increase transit access, speed, and reliability. And they're looking at not just hub and spoke, which we're very familiar with, connections, but also between town centers and employment centers, as well as including hospitals. So really looking at it differently. There was also a presentation by TriMet on their service hours restoration plan, because as you all know, they are behind due to staffing issues. Their goal is to increase ridership and equity issues, as we know, challenges with staffing. They hope to have more frequent service on their routes, maybe even every 30 minutes, and to improve their weekend service. So now let's get to the UGB exchange request, Tiger River Terrace 2.0, which you guys, we have talked about before. So where are we on that? So at their October meeting, the Metro COO presented to MPAC 3 possible options for the exchange. So it's narrowed down to three options. All are in Clackamas County. Options 1 and 2 include land in Damascus area, and option 3 includes land in Oregon City and Damascus. The general comments were Clackamas County was concerned about the loss of UGB land and that it would be moving into urban reserve. However, the land has been in the UGB since 2002, and there are no plans in the works for development. So the next step in the process was, at that point in October, was posting the recommendations for public comment. Last week, MPAC had their November meeting moved up because of the holidays, and they were asked to decide on their recommendation to Metro Council. What is going to be their recommendation to Council? Staff advised that there were only a few public comments, and the public comment time they had maybe half a dozen, a mix of pro and con. The Damascus area CTOs were talked to. They were supportive. Clackamas County Commission was opposed. Oregon City was supportive. Washington County supported the process and reminded everyone to keep the focus on the need for housing, which is what this is about, right? In the end, the motion was made that MPAC recommends Metro Council to pursue option 3 for the exchange. Motion carried. Next step, end of this month, Metro Council will be updated on the MPAC vote and the public comments. In January, there'll be the first reading and public hearing for this. That'll be January 19th. And on February 2nd, second reading and the vote, whether this exchange is going to go through or not. So, do you have any questions about
I
that?
do. Can I ask just a little bit more detail on what option 3 entails?
So option 3 was 2 parcels of land. One parcel was in the Damascus area off of the 212, kind of like where the Scottsons 1 and 2 were all in that area.
Okay.
And option in the other parcel in option 3 was in Oregon City, in the Redlands Road area. A very difficult terrain, and they pretty much had, so Oregon City was not real concerned about losing that in the UGB. So, yeah.
I knew that there was 3 options, I just couldn't remember what
Yeah.
option 3 was.
Yeah.
But
I think with Oregon City being supportive of option 3, that I think made it easier for the committee to lean in that direction.
my understanding is Clackamas County is opposing it.
Clackamas County Commission voted to oppose it.
Yeah.
And presented a letter to that effect.
Okay.
And it was, I think it can be categorized as, it was surprising, but, Mayor Snyder did say at the WCC that the commissioners, they did reach out to him personally and they talked about it, and, you know, they walked through, kind of privately what the issues were, and it wasn't so much Tiger's plan, but other concerns.
Right, yeah, and they're concerned of losing the land, but in fact, they're not really losing the land. It's just gonna go from UGB to urban reserve. And if at some point in time, they do come forward to council, Metro, with a development plan for that land, then that can be discussed again.
Right.
So it's not gone, so that was an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. That's all I have for you guys.
Thanks, Laura, that's a great update. All right. The last thing I'm gonna say, and then there was an article in the paper about a group of high school students out of Tiger High School who are offering to put up Christmas lights for seniors in King City and in Summerfield for free as part of their service group. I was excited when I read the article, and so I reached out to the adult advisors of the students. One is a retired teacher, and the other is a current teacher, and so I spoke to them. And so if anyone knows of a senior or wants that information, get in touch with me, or it's through Pamplin, and you can Google King City Lights or whatever to get information, but I'm happy to pass it along if you need it. So with that, we are shy of 7 p.m., so unless anyone has other business that you want to move to get the agenda amended and talk about it, then I will take a motion to close our meeting and get out of here. Oh, I'm sorry, we have one last thing to discuss. I'm sorry. I looked at Shauna's name and it prompted my reminder. We have, sorry everyone, we have a council meeting on the calendar for next month. It would be on the 21st. At this time, we do not really have any agenda items other than the looking at the traffic data that the chief has come up with. But I would probably be in favor of, unless something comes up, just canceling our December meetings because of the holidays and the proximity of the holidays and the lack of items for the agenda. But that is just my 2 cents. Ronnie has a point of order. Right. Yeah, unless we have, or we keep it and then. Okay. We can always keep it and then decide to cancel it closer to the date if we need to. So anyway, I throw that out there to everyone here because I don't know. In years past, we typically, unless there's something for the agenda, we typically don't have our December meeting.
Right.
Yeah. So
Is there anything that you know of that needs to be handled by the end of the year?
Most of the master plan stuff has all been pushed to January, because the components are coming in, but they're piecemeal and it hasn't been compiled yet.
Yeah.
So right now we have a bunch of halves of the whole and not one consolidated document to share that runs fluidly and is readable, right? So, that's gonna take a while for the consultants to build those parts and make it.
It's not gonna happen by the December meeting. Right. So I'll make a motion to cancel our December 21st meeting.
I'll second that.
all those. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any opposition? Any abstentions? All right, motion carried. Okay, so we will not have a December meeting unless something unforeseen happens and we need to have a vote on it, which Mike then will let us all know. Otherwise, we wish everyone happy holidays and we will then see each other back in January. Oh, we'll see everyone at the dinner, yeah.
December 7th. Yeah, December 7th.
And then lastly, just to remind everyone, on December 14th from 9:30 to 3:30 all day here in the Chamber Council, or in the Council Chamber, thank you, we are having a food drive.
Blood
No,
drive.
it's not blood drive. I'm literally staring at it and thinking.
Vampire attendance.
Yeah, so we have a blood drive here in the council chamber. We do need you to sign up ahead of time. So please go to the King City website, and sign up, and please donate. There's a blood shortage, so. We have not voted for a motion to close the meeting, so we need a motion.
Adjourn the meeting.
How's the motion, who was seconded?
That was for
That was
not
for
having
the
a council meeting.
We didn't quite get to the motion. We were.
Yeah, okay, we have a motion to close the meeting tonight. Do I have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Good job, Donna. All right, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Very close. We voted to, adjourn the next meeting before this one.
Right,
Yeah.
So we have holiday greetings.
We have to.
Yeah, Ronnie is gonna
Turn that
walk us
off.
through. Oh, Shauna,
Hope, you have to turn that off. They go.
Shauna, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we're gonna do, so Ronnie, what are we doing?
Holiday greetings. Like,
We're doing our holiday greeting, Shauna. Can we get Shauna?
can you do your camera, Sean?
Oh, yeah, hold on.
Are you
I
camera
gotta,
ready, Shauna?
I gotta go somewhere with light. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna log off. Hopefully it doesn't,
Are we off, is anyone on Zoom that shouldn't be? Are we still recording?
well, we need Shauna on Zoom, so.
I know, I'm just saying, can every, like, is this part being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay. I just need, oh, thank you. Okay, I do.
What is the property road?